asking the question, why was there ever a gold standard to begin with? Why has it been used as money dating back over 5,000 years? Why not something else? What makes gold so special? Well, there are a number of economic arguments that could be put forth, but I heard a discussion on this exact topic on NPR a few years ago that looked at it from not an economic standpoint, but rather from a scientific standpoint. And while it was meant to be an entertaining look at this question, a lot of the discussion is based on fact, and I'll quickly summarize their conclusions here. First of all, something has to be money, otherwise we are left to barter, which is an extremely inefficient system. So what should that something be? Well, if we take a look at this table, we get a list of all the known elements in the universe. So whatever we use as money would have to come from this list. And it's a big list. It gives us 118 different choices. And yet, for thousands of years, humans from all over the world and from vastly different cultures have repeatedly determined that just one of these elements to be the most marketable of all of them, using it as a store of wealth and as a medium of exchange. And it wasn't that long ago that much of the world was still on the gold standard. So again, why was that? Why did they choose gold? Well, let's start eliminating the things from this list that won't work as money and see what we're left with. These elements highlighted in green have a big advantage, and that is that they are very stable, which means they are pretty consistent and they don't change a lot. However, there's one big drawback. They're gases. So I guess we could all walk around with glass jars full of money, but each time we open the jar to buy a quart of milk, we'd be in danger of going broke as the gas escaped. Now, obviously that's not a good system, so I think we can cross those off the list. So what about these two elements highlighted here in blue? The problem with these is that they're liquids. So again, we could carry them around in a jar or a cup or some kind of a liquid-proof contraption. But how smart is this? What would happen if you accidentally dropped your money and it soaked into the carpet? How would you pick it back up? So we can cross them off the list as well. I guess we could consider lithium highlighted here in red, except for the fact that it's very reactive, and if you expose lithium to oxygen, it can lead to a huge fire causing the metal to explode. Now, I don't know about you, but money that spontaneously combusts doesn't rank really high on my list of preferred monetary options. It also makes me kind of worry about the batteries in most laptops and cell phones, but that's another topic entirely. In any case, let's all agree that we can cross lithium off the list of monetary options. And it turns out that many of the elements are too reactive to be money. That means they either rust, corrode, or fall apart. Some are even toxic or poisonous. So those obviously not going to work, and we can cross those off as well. Now, how about all these elements at the bottom of the list highlighted here in orange? They have some really cool names like promethium, einsteinium. There's just one problem. They're radioactive. So you start carrying those around and it won't be long before you're dead. And while there's much debate about what is and isn't money, I think we can all agree that death is not a good side effect of whatever method we use, so we can get rid of those as well. As you can see, if we remove gases, liquids, things that fall apart, or things that kill us, our options for money are fading fast. Now, contrary to what Fed Chairman Bernanke will tell you, another preferred characteristic of money is that it be rare. You don't want it to be so plentiful that it can be dropped at will from helicopters, or else the money itself will lose its value. All of these elements highlighted here in purple are extremely abundant and are thus too plentiful to serve as a rare and valuable medium of exchange. So they are out. And that leaves us with these remaining precious and semi-precious metals. However, you don't want your money to be too rare, so things like osmium that only come to Earth via meteorites are not a good choice. So these can be eliminated. Ruthenium, rhodium, palladium, and indium weren't really an option for much of human history, as they weren't even discovered until the 1800s. Which leaves the following three precious metals: silver, platinum, and gold. Silver has actually been widely used as money throughout history and is often referred to as poor man's gold. However, anyone who has ever owned a silver coin, silver jewelry, or real silverware knows it is fairly reactive. In other words, it tarnishes. So while it's a better choice than most, it's still not the best choice. Which leaves us with platinum and gold, both of which are rare, but can also be found in common places such as rivers and streams. But if you lived in the ancient world, found a big deposit of platinum, and wanted to transform it into coins, you would have needed some futuristic technology to do so, because the melting point of platinum is over 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Gold, however, melts at a much lower temperature, which made it much easier for human civilizations to work with. Gold is rare, but it can also be found in inaccessible places like rivers and streams. It's indestructible and it doesn't tarnish or decay. It's dense, which means it doesn't take up much space. It's easily malleable and divisible, which means it can easily be coined and broken up into smaller pieces. And its physical beauty has been documented for centuries. Simply put, gold became money because it's not a gas, it's not a liquid. It's stable and it's non-reactive. It doesn't blow up and it doesn't kill you. It's rare and it can't be destroyed. From a scientific perspective, gold is the only choice. So are we going back to a gold standard? Nobody can say for sure what the future holds. But it's the last thing that any central bank or government would want, as a gold standard would force them to balance the budget and not make a bunch of empty promises. But market forces may take this decision out of their hands. And if that happens, it's very probable that the one element that the market has determined as money for thousands of years will be the same element that is chosen again. And while this presentation is meant to be an entertaining look at the history of gold and why it became money in the first place, there's always some truth in every joke. I would argue that if you own gold, you will be one of the people that is laughing one day. Thanks for listening.